Oh, and it also has Plague Doctor in it. So, timely. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm here to do the BookTube newbie tag today. Except I modified it because I was reading some of the questions and I was like, I have nothing to say, so I'm not gonna say them. In order to make this video a little bit longer though, I will tell you about some of my 2019 favorite books though, so you can get a good sense of me and my reading, I guess. So question 1, why did you start this channel? As I film this, it's August 2020 and there's a pandemic, a global pandemic, and I live in America on the East Coast, just outside DC. So we will probably be dealing with a pandemic for quite some time, meaning I have a lot of free time on my hands. So I decided to give this BookTube thing a go. As you can tell, I am bored. I want to talk about books. I have no intention on running for political office anytime soon, and if I do, I don't think Fox News can complain too much about a BookTube channel. So I figured this was a safe way to go. But, I mean, it's Fox News. They can find anything, I guess. I also have a lot of unread books. As you can see, I have the standard YouTube background of bookshelves, but like, I haven't read any of these books. I haven't read any of these books. And I haven't read any of these books. But all the books over there I have read. So there's that. That one shelf. It's all done. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Question 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So this whole idea really came about because I decided to get a subscription box called Once Upon a Book Club, and I got it for the first time last month and I really enjoyed it. The concept behind that is you get a book, but the trinkets and stuff are wrapped up and you unwrap them when you get to a corresponding page. So the item always has something to do with the page that it's associated with, if that makes sense. For example, the first one I got was How the Penguin Saved Veronica. It's from the June box. And the items I got were like tea and a locket and a notebook and a kitchen salad thongs. So 3 out of those 4 I really liked, and the 4th, the locket, would make a great stocking stuffer. So I decided to give it another go and get another box. But I know a lot of people get book subscription services, and I know unboxings are common on this channel on YouTube. But I decided that I actually want to do a vlog style because I don't want to say nobody reads the book that comes in the subscription box, but like the people I watch don't seem to actually read the book that comes with the subscription box, at least not anytime soon. And then it inevitably always ends up in a book unhaul. So that kind of is the idea of I want to show off this subscription service and I want to do it like a vlog style. So I should start a BookTube channel. And here I am on BookTube. Some other fun and unique things I'm going to do are like challenges. I have a review planned that's all about a certain book. I also want to do the presidential biography challenge, which is read a biography about each of our presidents. I've been putting that one off, and I probably will keep putting that one off until I have faith in democracy again. So maybe I'll get that started in December, or maybe I'll wait until December 2024. Who knows? Question 3. Why do you love reading? It's an affordable hobby, and I am a nosy person, so I like hearing about the business of like imaginary people. it just fits my niche that I have. That's like, I have an overactive imagination, and I just love filling it with that kind of info. Does that make sense? Comment down below if that made sense to you. Question 4, what book or series got you into reading? So when I was younger, like a wee one, like in elementary school, I didn't read a whole lot because I still do have a lot of learning disabilities, like dyslexia, and just, it was hard for me to read. But when I did get started reading, it was American Girl books and The Babysitter Club. And I think that is still why to this day I love historical fiction, and I love just contemporary YA. Of course, there's always the good old standby Harry Potter. Just love Harry Potter. I worked at a bookstore when book 5 came out, and I actually got it a day early because I was able to sneak it out. I think that was actually against the law, so don't come and arrest me, I guess. Please don't. Question 5. So what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Basically just reading, to be honest. Like if I read 2 books in 1 month, I'm calling that a good month. I just don't read a lot anymore. I used to read like a ton, but not so much anymore. So hopefully this will change that, because I'll be quote unquote accountable to somebody. Let me know if you want to hold me accountable. Comment down below. Also, just staying consistent and making videos just in general would be hard for me. And the final question that I'm going to do is number 6. What kind of books do you like to read? I like to read adult and YA, particularly contemporaries, memoir, thrillers, historical fiction. I'll read basically anything, but like dense biographies are like my downfall, which is why I've put off doing the presidential biography challenge for so long. But other than that, I will give anything a go. I like police mysteries. I belong to like a couple book clubs in my real life, which is the only way I'm still like actually reading. So that's always really good to keep me going and keep me trying new things. And with that, there are no more questions that I was interested in answering, so I'm going to talk about some of my favorite books from 2019. If I'm still doing this by the end of the year, I'll talk about some of my favorite books that I read earlier in 2020. But for right now, let's talk about my favorite books that are in 2019. I'm only recapping 2019 because when I sat down and was like, what are my favorite books? I don't know if they're still even my favorite books because it's been so long since I've read them. I took like a gap period of like 3 years before I started like reading semi-regularly again in 2018. In 2019 actually was my big push. I read like 29 books last year. My goal this year is to read 35, and I'm only at 10, so pray for me. So one of my favorite books from 2018 was Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. This is a historical fiction, contemporary zombie book. Basically, it tells of an alternate history where the zombie outbreak happens in lieu of the Civil War. So instead of becoming, well, I guess they're still technically slaves. Basically, all Black children are sent to schools to learn how to fight off zombies and protect rich white people. I have the sequel somewhere that I'm going to be reading soon, but I really enjoyed this because it was just such a different take on zombie books. Zombie books are often used for some sort of commentary, but I haven't seen one used as racial commentary. And I really enjoyed how it basically took it apart and made it into what it did. Great description, I know. I think I gave that, well, these are all 5 stars to be honest. but I highly recommend it. Again, like I said, I'll be reading the sequel sometime soon. I have it on my dresser waiting to be read. The second book I'm going to talk about is A Heart in a Body in the World by Dev Khaledi, I believe is how it's pronounced. YA, contemporary. The premise of this is set around the main character decides to run across the country, starting in Seattle and ending up in DC. It focuses a lot on trauma, especially when it comes to abuse, domestic abuse and gun violence. It's really hard-hitting, and it made me cry. I tear up a lot, but not a lot of things make me like full out cry. This book did, so I really highly recommend. That was probably my second favorite book of 2018. The next one is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. As a side note, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was my favorite book of 2018, and actually is still one of my favorite books. I love that so much. But we're talking about The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which is, it's just kind of weird. It's described as like it's described as Agatha Christie meets Groundhog's Day, which works. But I would also describe it as meeting the movie Clue. It's the main character wakes up in the different body of a dinner guest every single day, and his goal is to figure out who murdered Evelyn Hardcastle. And it's just gothic, it's atmospheric for sure. I just loved it. It's really, really unique, and I haven't read anything else like it, and I haven't even heard of a summary that sounds anything like it. Oh, and it also has a plague doctor in it, so timely. The next set of books, I read the Bill Hodges trilogy last year by Stephen King, and they're not good. They're not the best of Stephen King, I will say that. They're good. I would rate the trilogy as a whole 5 stars, but each individual book I would not rate as 5 stars. They basically tell the story of this detective called Bill Hodges, and he has 2 sidekicks and he solves a crime. It's pretty basic, to be honest. I will say that the character Holly Ghibli is one of my favorite book characters, and she also shows up in Stephen King's Outsider, which you should not read until you read the Bill Hodges trilogy first. It's kind of like a I don't want to say like a sequel or anything like that, but like if the Bill Hodges trilogy was an aunt, the Outsider would be a nephew. No, that makes no sense. If the Bill Hodges trilogy was your dad, then the Outsider would be your dad's nephew. So, read the Bill Hodges trilogy first if you don't want any spoilers for the Outsider. Also, the Outsider, the TV show from HBO, did my girl Holly some good justice. I really love that character portrayal. And then my favorite book of 2019 was Lincoln in the Bardo, which I actually had to think about for quite some time because it took me forever to finish this book. It is written very, very uniquely in a very different kind of style, and the premise of it is it takes place on the night that Todd Lincoln dies. And it was always speculated that Abraham Lincoln would go and visit Todd's body at night in the crypt and just kind of stay with him. So that's the basic premise. It takes place in a cemetery, and it's just very, again, I feel kind of repetitive, but it is very gothic, very atmospheric, very unique and different and beautiful in its own little way. So I highly recommend it. You should read that one for sure. That's it. That's all I got for you today. Comment down below and tell me about why you started BookTube or something. I'm destined for greatness, obviously.